Yep. Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll just wait, like kind of not talk anything serious for a few minutes while people arrive. But why were you in the Auvergne? Do you have a home there, or you were visiting on vacation, or what were you doing in the Auvergne?
Oh, no, I have a home there, yes. I was I needed to take a little break, like 5 days. And I go there when I need to work and to do everything what I want to do and that I'm not able to do at the winery because, there's always a phone call, somebody who wants to visit the winery, or I need to do some stuff in the cellar. So every time in July, I take like 5 days just to be with my computer only and to, to work and to do everything that I need to do. And next year, so in September, I'm going to start to give some, I've been asked by business school to give some courses.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, so I needed to prepare that a little bit.
That's amazing.
And it took me quite a lot of time.
Our connection is not as good as it was before. Is everything the same?
Yeah, it's the joy to live in the countryside in France.
Okay. Hopefully it will reset because I'd love to see your smiling face and it's a little blurry on this end, but we'll just continue on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit better. Let me do that with my, is it better? No. Huh?
No, but sometimes as it gets a stronger connection, it gets better somehow. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But will come through regardless. What are you going to do with the business class? Will it be online?
No, that should be in front of the students if everything is better in France by October, and otherwise I can do them online, but it should be in front of the students, yes.
I see.
It's a little bit easier, when you see people for real.
Yeah, everybody here is struggling about whether we're going to be back in school. You guys got it sorted out, but we have not.
No, it's not sorted out, but that tends to be a little bit better than it was, but it's far away from being sorted out.
Yeah. Say, I'm going to kick you out a second and ask you to rejoin because I think the connection is better and I would like to be able to see you just clearly. So do you mind if we try that again?
Okay, let's try.
Okay. So, guys, she's such a delight and such a beautiful smile and such a good energy. I really want you to all be able to see her clearly because we chatted 20 minutes ago and it was a really good connection. So I don't know what happened, but she's just lovely. Brian, can you guys, when she was on, could you see her clearly or was it blurry? Because mine's blurry and the sound wasn't great. Maybe it's my end. This thing is so weird how it's inconsistent. The other day I couldn't even start one with a guy in Champagne and it was really annoying. It takes so long to like make the connection.
Is it better now?
Oh, I can hear. Yes, perfect. I knew that was gonna. That makes me happy because I want people to see your smiling face. Makes it. Oh. But we're gonna go ahead. Your smile and your laugh is still gonna come through.
Yeah,
so
whenever you're ready.
You took a little break for yourself in the Auvergne to get stuff squared away. So now you're back, ready to go.
Ready to go.
And when do you start harvest?
End of September, I guess. I don't know yet, but you know, in La Fondue, where we are located, or we are on the top of the hill, the vines are completely north-facing, and they are planted on the sandy soil. So we are always the last to harvest. Mm. So we usually harvest something like 2 weeks before a lot of people in Chateauneuf-du-Pape, and this year should be like maybe, let's say, after the 20th of September. Okay. Maybe 25th. I don't really know right now. It's a little bit too early to know. It will depend on how it's going to be in August.
I see. Okay. And so
but,
will you and your staff take a regular vacation in August like most of France does?
Yes, of course. We are French. We are proud to be closed in August. No, yeah. So actually, I just realized that we really didn't take a break for the past 7 months, and I am exhausted. So I really need to take a break. And once again, where we are located, it's really in the middle of nowhere, so we don't have a lot of tourists who go and pass by and stop. So we closed the winery for 3 weeks. And then we try to be in good shape for the harvest.
Gotcha.
So, but I will stay home. No trips this year, nothing. I just stay home and try to catch up with my sleep and stuff like that, and stay with the kids and blah, blah.
But it's what you were saying, you hadn't had a break in 7 months. It's such a weird time. You think you're not doing anything because you're not traveling, and it's just, but it's exhausting just keeping up with everything.
And we had to work. I mean, even if a lot of people in France closed their shops or whatever, we had the wines to take care of, the vines and the wines to take care of, and we had to bottle, and I had a lot of things to do. So in fact, we really didn't even stop a day. So I'm right now just exhausted.
But you deserve the vacation. So, and Charlotte, can we start? We'll kind of get official now, and I would like to ask you what your job is at the winery, what you actually do, and then how you got into it. I think your family had the winery, but can you tell us that story?
Yes. So the winery has been in my family for the past 100 years now. So it came from my great-grandfather, and I took over in 2002 with my husband when my father decided that he was fed up to be a winemaker in Chateauneuf-du-Pape. So he decided to go to Morocco, and so one day, I will always remember that, it was a Sunday morning, he gave me the keys and said, you know what, it's your turn now. So I'm very lucky because I work with my husband. And the two of us, we didn't have the choice, but then we ended up to be winemakers. And so it's been almost 20 years now. So in 20 years, we have now a great experience. So La Fondue, as I told you, has been in my family for the past 100 years. It's been a while. It's a beautiful winery. Really unique and different from what exists in Chateauneuf-du-Pape, because it's at the highest point of Chateauneuf-du-Pape. As I told you, the vines are completely north-facing, and they all are planted in sandy soil. While in Chateauneuf, we are more famous for the rocks. We don't have any of those rocks. So the style of the wines are maybe lighter, more elegant, super delicate, and this is also the style that I like to drink. So I wasn't supposed to be a winemaker. So the way we decided to do the wine was what do we like to drink, and then let's try to do something we like to drink with the terroir that we have. We are very lucky that we have a beautiful terroir, extremely great terroir.
I want to ask you more about that, but can you give an overview of Chateauneuf? Because for me, in very broad terms, and there are people on here who are wine lovers and not necessarily professionals, for my understanding, Chateauneuf is kind of the divider between north and south, and Chateauneuf is where, like, in the north is Syrah and in the south is Grenache. And is that accurate, or is that too simplistic?
No, I think it's maybe a little bit too simplistic. So Chateauneuf-du-Pape is quite a large appellation. It's the oldest AOP in the world. So in France, but in the world, let's say that. So it was an AOP since 1939 or 36 or 39, something like that. You can Google that.
Yeah.
It's quite a big appellation, and it's located on 5 different villages. So of course Chateauneuf-du-Pape, but then we have Courthézon, Bédaride, Sorgues, and Orange. And let's think that it's a kind of round, like that. So it's not really a round, but let's simplistically say like that. And we are over than 300 winemakers on Chateauneuf-du-Pape. There's the most important or the most famous soil is the rocky soil, but we also have a little bit of sand where we are. So Chateauneuf-du-Pape.
I have a picture of. Oh, I didn't include the picture of the soil. That's the prettier one with the grass. But I thought I had one of the soil. I got your sheep there.
Yeah, so I was about to say, oh, this looks like my vines. Yes. Whenever you want, we can go outside and I can show you one because I'm like 2 minutes away from the vines.
Okay, well, let's talk inside and get all the facts and details, and it's the
yes, and then we can go inside.
Okay, so
La Fond du Loup, yes, it's, as I told you, it's quite a unique domain inside the area of Chateauneuf-du-Pape. Chateauneuf-du-Pape, you have some thing to remember. First, it's a very morcellated appellation. By morcellated, I mean that some wineries, they have a little plot here, another there, another one at the far east end of the appellation. While La Fond du Loup is 20 hectares, so 45 acres roughly, in a single plot. So this is a little bit different. So Chateauneuf-du-Pape, as I told you, is famous for the rocks, while we have sand only, and it's also quite not very low. You know, there's only 2 hills, and we are on the top of the highest one. And also in Chateauneuf, there are some specific terroirs or plots that are very famous. If I told you about La Croix, this is the English version of La Croix. We say La Croix in French, but you will say La Croix. Is one of the most famous plots in Chateauneuf. And this is where we are as well. So we talk about that in Chateauneuf more. And also it's based on the winemakers. It's not like in Burgundy where, you know, you can have a clos and some climat. Chateauneuf-du-Pape is bigger, so what makes its reputation, it's also the winemakers and the way they are doing their wines. We are famous for our blends as well. We are allowed to blend. We say 13, in fact, it's a little bit more, but let's keep it simple and say 13 different varieties. And the most important is Grenache. Grenache red and Grenache white. So this is the variety that we use the most. Then we have Syrah and Mourvèdre for the red. And for the white, it's usually Grenache Blanc, Clairette, and Roussanne. So I would say those 6 are super famous in Chateauneuf. But if you want to be super smart on a wine dinner, you can always say that in the red you have Cinsault, and in the white you have Bourboulingue. So if you can say that on a wine dinner, I mean, you're the best. So
no, go ahead.
This is what makes the specificity of Chateauneuf-du-Pape, really the blend. And also remember, Chateauneuf-du-Pape is still famous to be the Catholic Pope's wine. So this is one of the wine which has been the most exported in the world because of that. Not anymore. But because of that, we were famous all around the world. Remember, our history comes from the 14th century. And Chateauneuf du Pape is super, super old winery, old appellation.
Well known.
Old region.
Yeah. Do you ferment everything, all the different grapes, or do you ferment them separately or together? It would be separately.
So I ferment everything separately for one philosophical reason and for some more practical reason. My philosophical reason is that to me, to be a happy couple, you have to be two happy people to create a third harmonious entity. So I believe that all my varieties has to be vinified and aged separately to allow them to develop their own personality, own aromas, and then I can blend. The practical reason is that once again, with our location, the grapes have a different stage of maturity. So usually we start with the Syrah, then the Grenache, but we are able to cut the Mourvèdre like 2 weeks after. And I refuse to, because this is a choice that I could have taken, like wait until the Grenache are super mature and cut them when the Mourvèdre are just right about being mature enough. Do you understand what I mean? So it could like make a kind of balance with that. But I didn't want to do that. What I want to do is to cut the Grenache when they are ready and to harvest the Mourvèdre when they are ready. So this is a practical answer. But I like my philosophical answer as well.
I do too. But so,
but in Chateauneuf, yeah, in Chateauneuf, some people do like co-fermentation. Yes, you have to know that we have a lot of co-planting, in fact, in our vineyards. So, for instance, I have in my plots of Grenache, in some of the plots, I have maybe a third of Mourvèdre, because I wanted to add some more Mourvèdre, and the only option for me, because if you want to buy land in Chateauneuf, you have to be which I'm not. So it's almost impossible to buy new land in Chateauneuf. So the only option is to replace the dead, you know, the dead vines by something else. So what I did is I replaced a lot of my Grenache by Mourvèdre. But once again, I don't co-ferment them. So I have a kind of rubalise. Do you know what rubalise is?
No.
So I mark all the Mourvèdre, then I'm sure that I don't harvest them when it's not ready.
But so,
does that make sense
for you? In the very old days, as I understand,
I don't know. I can't hear you anymore.
You can't see me?
I can't hear you.
Oh. There was a sound.
No, it worked now, and I cannot hear you anymore.
Did your phone ring for a second? Maybe hit your volume or something?
That's super strange.
Well, I heard a phone ring. You can't hear me at all. Because I can. It's good now?
Yeah, it's good. I don't know what happened.
I think your phone might have rang in the middle of that, and then the sound goes away from this to your phone.
Yeah, somebody tried to reach me.
So, my understanding, and I don't know if this is true in Chateauneuf, but a lot of times when there was blends, there used to be a field blend. So you would always have something ripe and always something green for acid, and it was kind of an insurance policy. Is that where blending came about in Chateauneuf?
Yes, I guess so, yes.
And then...
But this is, once again, this is something that I don't want to do. So, but it's true. Remember, Chateauneuf du Pape, as it's a blend, you cannot have all the varieties mature or ripe at the same time. It's impossible. It would be impossible to harvest everything at the same time. So the beauty of the appellation is also by the fact that you have time to harvest, or you can co-ferment if you like. In the south face of the appellation, it's easier to co-ferment. If you are located on the south face of the appellation, of course, the Grenache are way much more riper and super dense. So it's better if you harvest your Mourvèdre a little bit earlier, because it will bring some freshness. Everything depends on, this is what I was talking about. Everything depends on where you are on the appellation. Once again, La Fond du Loup is such a unique place that we have to create our own rules. Those are not the rules for Chateauneuf du Pape. Those are the rules for La Fond du Loup.
I like that. It works. Clearly, your wine is very, very good. But there's a difference between making an optimal Mourvèdre and making an optimal Grenache, but then making an optimal blend is a whole other bear. So you have to do it all.
Yeah, this is why I like them to be fermented and aged separately, as I told you, to give all the variety the chance to be at their optimum, to give their personality. And I also, this is almost the only time that I'm happy to be a woman in the business, because I have a memory when I've been married for 21 years old now, 21 years. And I remember when I was looking for my wedding dress, I knew that I'm going to find the one. And when I found the dress, all the other ones were not as nice or like not as good for me. So every year when we do the blending session with my husband and our enologist, I always remember this feeling that we will come up with something which is going to be exactly the right blend, which is going to show the terroir, but also the history of the winery, because you have to keep that in mind. One day, so I cannot come up with an super extracted wine, because it's not in the philosophy of the winery, it's not our style. And I wanted to reflect as well the vintage. So terroir, history of the winery, and vintage are the three key points that I want to show into the wine.
And how does that come across in the glass? How do your wines taste different from other Chateauneuf?
They are very easy to drink, which is not always the case with Chateauneuf du Pape, and they are easy to drink even when they are super young. So right now, you can enjoy the 2018 vintage without any problem. The wine is super easy. They are a little less alcohol than a lot of Chateauneuf du Pape, so it's 14.5. It is really 14.5, not only for the label. So we have less alcohol, and the level of acidity is a bit higher in La Fond du Loup as well. And the wine is, I would say, fresher. But for sure, it's easier to drink, super easy to drink.
I agree with all of that. I really remember sitting in the room tasting with you, and I look forward to having it again. Can you talk about your practice? Tell me about what you do in the vineyard, and then tell me about your bees also.
So what we do in the vineyard is we take care of the vines as we take care of our kids. They are our babies. And to be a winemaker, I mean, the most important part is to be in the vineyard. The vineyard and the work that we do in the vineyard is maybe 80% of our job. And the rest is in the cellar, but the vineyard is the most important. So we don't use any chemicals or whatever, but I'm certified HVE, which is a new French certification, which means high environmental value. And it is based on the fact that we take care of the vineyard without chemicals, but also that we encourage the biodiversity. And La Fond du Loup is surrounded by a deep forest, so we have a lot of insects. When we'll be outside, we are going to listen to the cicadas. We have so many cicadas that I have to, this is what I told you, I have to be inside the office, I have to close the door, and all the windows, because they are so freaking singing all day long. That's great. So the encouraging the biodiversity is a key point for us. But as I told you, I treat my vines as I treat my kids. That means that if they have a headache, I will give like a little bit of paracetamol or something like that. But if they have very bad ear infection with fever, I'm going to give antibiotics. That I do for my kids. If there's a problem, I do the same with my vines, because first, I don't want them to suffer. Vines which suffer will never give good fruits, and they have a memory of the suffering, and I don't want them to feel bad. So thank God we don't need to do anything like that, because we work a lot in the vineyard. But if one day something happens, I really want to react as a mother with the kids.
Yeah.
This is my point of view. And this is my point of view. But we are very happy with the HV certification. It's super precise and it's fantastic. We also have a lot of water in La Fondue, so we create something to avoid waste the water. And we have our own honeybees. We do our own honey. So we really try to. We put some sheep on the land when it's the season, to avoid to go with a tractor. I don't like to go out very often with a tractor because I don't like it on the soil.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to be very careful, like to preserve the earthworms, houses and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit crazy about that.
No, the more I talk to people, that seems to be the smart way, that you want to keep the diversity in the soil as well, and keep the worms healthy.
I mean, if you want to have happy vines, you need to create this lively and happy environment.
Yeah.
So think about you, you're happy when there's a lot of people around you, normally, and when life is around, and it creates like an atmosphere, and you want to be, it's the same for the vines. You have to create a happy atmosphere and a live atmosphere for them to feel happy.
That's really a lovely way of explaining it all. So I think I asked all my questions, and we're going to go outside if we can. You're going to show us. So I'm going to tell people it's going to be very loud. It's all cicadas. We're not going to talk. I may explain, because I've been there and can explain the fountain, and then you're going to show us the vines, and then we lose you the office. We have the Wi-Fi.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, perfect. So let's go outside and see what happened. So I'll show you my face right now. And now you can hear the cicadas?
100%.
So I'm gonna show you the one of the piece that I like the most in La Fondue, which is the linden tree. So it's an old linden tree. It's 250 years old. See it?
Yeah, it's a little blurry. I'm not sure the data's enough, but it clears up a little bit. Okay.
Like that should be better here.
Oh,
can you see it?
Yeah. And that's how old? Oh, I think we lost her. So she'll go back into the office. But we were going to be in the vines because it's really beautiful out there, and the soil's really sandy.
So this is a picture. So this is the linden tree. So it's a 250 years old tree. And here is the chateau.
Uh-huh.
So this is also 250 something year old chateau. I'll show you.
Lovely. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, it's but I think I could have been a princess. I would have made more money than being a winemaker. But so this is the chateau, and this is the fountain of the wolf. Have you seen the frog? Have you seen the frog?
No.
So there's a frog over here.
Oh,
So, and this is the fountain. So this fountain always has water. The water comes from the Mont Ventoux, and it always runs. So let's go and see the vineyard. And can you hear the cicadas?
It's not as bad. It's not as bad because it's close to you. I can hear you fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit noisy. I tried to show you one. So here it's an experience that I like to do. It's going to this path because here it's always windy. We are going to the north part of the winery, and it's always windy. So it's not windy today, but if you watch those trees, they are moving.
Yeah.
So La Fondue is known for the wind as well. We have a lot of wind.
And that affects.
So more six.
Right? You have the vine,
and the vines are here. So the chateau is here, the south face, the north face, sorry. And here is the vines. So you can see the Syrah here. And can you see the Mont Ventoux?
Yeah.
It's on your right.
Yep.
Voilà.
Beautiful. Boy.
So, and this is we have 45 acres, no, 45 acres around the cellar and the house. So you can see on the floor the sandy soil.
Really?
I can explain you, if you like, the difference in between a rocky soil and the sandy soil.
Yes.
Actually, this is going to be the temperature of the soil.
Okay.
So if we take, there's one rock here. Right now, this rock, can you see the rock? Yes.
Yep.
So this rock is extremely warm because the sun outside is crazy warm. And in Chateauneuf, there's a lot of rocks like that, which cover the soil. So the roots of the vines are kept at a very high temperature. But as the vines are quite low on the ground, on the floor, the rocks also warm the grapes. So in September, the grapes are warmer, and they are, I mean, there's less juice also on the fruit which are grown on a rocky soil. On a sandy soil, you made this experience when you walk barefoot at the beach. It can be super warm during the day, but as soon as the sun goes down, it's cold. So the roots of my vines are kept at a lower temperature. And of course, the sand doesn't work as an oven and doesn't warm the grapes. Let me show you something. We start, so those are the Syrah. We have this plot of Syrah, which is the only one that we are allowed to cultivate on trail like that.
Oh, okay.
And I'll show you some grapes which start to...
Nice.
Can you see the color?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it seems to, if it stays like that, it is going to be a crazy great vintage. And believe me, we need that.
Yeah.
So it starts to ripe slowly.
Wow.
We call that the veraison, the time when the grapes start to change the color.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How nice.
So, and we have this sand everywhere. I remember when I was a kid with my sisters, we used to pretend that we were at the beach. So we have our like towels, beach towels, and sunscreen. So this is where we are.
Wow.
Voilà. And far away over there, you can see Courthézon.
Okay. That's one of the 5 villages or communes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's go back. I can't hear you anymore.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay. Let's try if we can catch a cicadas. I'm not sure. It's not easy to catch.
Really?
Yeah, it's super difficult to see one. Let's try. But I don't want to get boring because it's super difficult to see them. But at least you can hear them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So they usually come out on June the 15th.
Uh-huh.
And when we reach the temperature of 26 Celsius.
Okay.
No.
And how long?
And then they will sing until like very end of August, sometimes early September. And then when they stop, it's the end of the world for me. Because that means that I'm going to cover myself again, like wear pullovers and stuff like that.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah, let's see if we can see some. No, I don't think that we're going to be able to see one. No. Oh, look. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh.
Can you see the white stuff on the tree?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
This is a skin. This is an old skin of cicadas. So they change their skin every, I don't know, every time. There's a lot here. So they change their skin like snakes.
Okay.
Oh, ouais. And there's some skins everywhere.
Wow.
My daughter was collecting them, and one day I found in a box in a room, like I don't know how many, maybe 200. Like that was fun. Okay, so you saw the winery.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was super cool.
It's really is a fantastic place to visit. It's beautiful.
It really one of the highlights of the trip coming to see you. It was really great. We went so fast, so I'm glad to revisit it with you now. It's well past the half hour, so I'll let you go. And thank you so much for your time. This was really cool. Do you have anything that you want to say that I missed? Like any questions or things you want to tell people?
Like maybe I'd be happy to just show the bottles of wine that we produce.
Yes, I'd love that.
So we do the Côte du Rhône. You have the red here, but I also have a white. We have the blend. This is the Chateauneuf du Pape that we do. This is a blend of Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, and Cinsault. Okay. I do it in the white version as well. Okay. And this is Le Puy Roland. This is 100% Grenache coming from 100-year-old vines.
Wow.
This is such a beautiful wine. So just to show you the bottles. Otherwise, I was super happy to talk with you. I miss the US so much. I don't know when I'll be able to come back, but I'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, I'm afraid. You said you would come 5 times a year?
Yeah, usually 4 to 5 times a year, yes. I have a lot of customers in the US, and I mean, I'm always happy to see the consumers of my wines. And it helps also, it helps a lot the importers and the clients when I'm here. Yeah. And I love that. I miss the...
on here says hi, and she's been really enjoying this trip. And then Vicky Carroll just says hi, and it's really good to see.
Yes. Coucou, Vicky. I miss you so much, Vicky.
And now I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I'll send it to Natalie and Michael also. Our data's lagging for a second. Oh, there we go. Now you're back. Yeah, I'm going to put this on YouTube and send it to Michael and Natalie also.
Okay, perfect.
All right. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye, Jeff.
Take care. Bye-bye.